And when the umpire sees the hands are down, there we go. We're off in the final of the Remenham Challenge Cup. Leander A, the British national squad. On the left of your picture, Maple Bay Rowing Club, the Canadian national squad. On the right of your picture, you could put a cigarette paper between these two crews the last time they raced 2 weeks ago in the Varese World Cup, Andrea.
0.09 seconds between the two crews, with 4 of the crew members from the 8 there doubling up. So fresh legs here, and it's going to be so exciting. This is the race to watch.
And that is an amazing start by the Canadians. My goodness, what has happened? They have blasted out at the end of the island, and the Canadians were doubling up in Varese, so maybe they were a bit more tired because they raced in 4. Some of the British were doubling up, but you don't see that lead coming out the end of the island. Is that job done for the Canadians, Andrea?
We know it's a long way to go, but Kristen Kitt there in the coxswain seat, we call her the tornado, and I know that she's going to take these guys right into the eye of the storm. She knows how to get the best out of every single girl in that boat, and she'll be calling to them for what they need. I know that their race plan is to stay calm, cool, collected, and to leave it on the water. I'm so excited to watch this.
So what's the deal with Henry Fieldman? What's he saying to the British women at the moment? They're a length down nearly, you can see in this early stage of the race.
Well, you know, a start is kind of like pushing a fridge on ice, right? You can't run at it. There's still a lot of real estate left here, so now the job is to stay in contention, to not let that Canadian 8 break the elastic and break free. They need to keep connection and start clawing back those seats.
The 2-woman in the British 8 rowing, McKellar, is a Henley winner already today. She was in the Town Cup rowing with Helen Glover et al, winning that contest against Leander. So her legs will be burning at this moment. I have to say that the British have got a lot of work to do, but I think on that station, you know, if I had to choose the station, I would choose the station on the right-hand side, Andrea.
Well, I'm going to say it's the horse, not the chariot, Martin. And we'll have to see how that plays out later on. I do know that this crew in the Canadian 8 had a little bit of a lineup change from Varese. We have Morgan Ross with the keys and stroke seat. She just came back from an emergency surgery in January where her appendix was removed. I know this girl, she is so hungry coming from being the spare in Olympics, and I'm so excited to see her at the helm.
Yeah, she was up in the bows in the 2 seat, I think, in Varese. That's a big change, isn't it, to put her in the stroke seat? But whatever they've done, it seemed to work. I mean, you were coached, and the Canadian Women's 8 were coached in Tokyo by Michelle Darville. Now this crew is coached by Carol Love. What's the difference between the 2 coaches?
Carol Love was actually part of the team that took us to the Olympics, although she didn't come with us. I know Carol so well. She is a phenomenal coach in that she knows that it is more about what you do on the water, but also about how you are developed as an athlete off the water. This team has done so much work with camaraderie and collectivity, and I spoke to Avalon Wasnies, and the lineup change, I believe the words were that there isn't any magic in the seats, but rather it's more about the heart of the team.
Avalon Wasnies, who stroked the Olympic 8, mum Heather Clark, will be maybe watching this from Canada. Used to row when I was in the team back in the Seoul Olympics in 1988. And if you're watching this presentation from anywhere in the world, but particularly in Canada, we hope you're enjoying this. I guess the British 8 need to make a move soon if they're going to get back into contention. They've got to be kind of within half a length going into the enclosures, so Henry Fieldman can steer right down the booms and get any advantage from that Berkshire station on the far side. But at the moment, Canada looks supreme.
We know that in these 8s that it's important to stay in touch. But we also know that it's important to know how to row from behind, and I'm sure that this is something that the GB team have practiced. They may have to go a little bit early. As an athlete, you talk about red light moments, yellow light moments, green light moments. For me, this is looking like a red light moment for the Team GB. They've got to go to war. They got to turn the dial early. Everyone wants it, but now it's a question of who believes it.
So there's Jess Sevick in the bow seat, Kasila Grishelewiecki, the Olympic champion, Alexis Kronk, Kirsten Edwards, Sydney Payne, another Olympic champion, Avalon Wasnies at 6. She's an Olympic champion too. Christina Walker in the 7 seat. Ross, you heard Morgan Ross dropped into the stroke seat from the bows a couple of weeks ago, and Kirsten Kitt, the Olympic champion, Cox. So there's the Brits. Natasha Monroe, Ron McKellar doubling up, Lauren Orwin, Karen Bennett, the Olympic silver medalist in the 4C, Esme Booth, Emily Ford makes a mean tiramisu, Harriet Taylor in the 7C, Annie Campbell Ord at stroke, and Henry Fieldman in the Cox's seat. Oh, one thing, Andrea, I think just a note for Leander crews, they've got on their boats and on their vest the Colgan Foundation, who have come in after Leander's sponsor dropped out. Sean Colgan and his wife Bibi, great benefactors to the sport, and they are looking after Leander Club and sponsoring the club and the crews here. But at the moment it is Canada with a clear water lead over the British national team. This is going to be a fantastic row for the Canadians. All the changes they've done since Varese will have proved to have worked. So what have Leander got now in the last stages of this race? Can they close the gap, Andrea?
I don't know. It's going to take a lot to catch the True North strong, and strong is the word. Opportunity as well. This Canadian 8 was looking so strong in practice, and I know that they were hungry for this. Everyone's got their eye on qualification this year, and this is such a great test. Qualification for the Olympics, I mean, such a great test against the best and the best on Henley Royal Regatta waters.
Canadians rowing for Maple Leaf Rowing Club, and this year one of the Masters rowers where they train in Maple Bay Rowing Club had a heart attack and passed away, and this is the same lake the Canadian team train on, and they are rowing for that club in that guy's honour. So Leander moving a little bit, but I think it's too late. Canada still look good, really snappy on the front end of the catch, nice release at the finish. We're coming up to about 15, 20 strokes to go. What have Leander got as we come up to the finish? There they are, Henry Fieldman urging them on. But it's Canada, Andrea, coming up to the finish.
Oh, Canada, here they come across the line. Henley Royal champions. The first time this is done in decades or ever. This is so exciting. Oh my gosh. And here come the GB crew. We'll see a competition between these two at World Cup 3.
There was so much pressure on this Canadian 8 after that race in Varese. The changes that Carol Love has made really worked a treat. And they dominated that race from the first stroke, really, didn't they?
Looking so strong and smooth. I asked them what their tips were, what they were practicing for ahead of their Avalon Wasnies slapping the water. I asked them what their tips were and how they were preparing them. They said to look out for their book coming out in 2028.